Tre Johnson just had the best Wizards rookie debut since 1992. But it means more than that, and it's because he transforms this entire offense.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
EC family. You're locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe and join the DC family. Thank you for 6,000 subscribers. Alongside the DC Sports content creating savant, Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, and I cover all things DC Sports for 106.7 The Fan and the Team 980. AB, wild day, to say the least, in terms of NBA news.
Yeah, if you didn't know and you're living under a rock, a lot of stuff came out today, and there's probably going to be more unfolding throughout the week. But the biggest headline going into tomorrow, Ben, Cooper Flagg versus Tre Johnson, man.
Yes, sir, exactly. Tre Johnson, the bulk of the content today's episode. He had one of the best performances for a Wizards rookie in quite some time. In fact, it was the best since 1992 in a debut. Now, it means more than that, though. It's because he transforms this entire offense. I'm going to tell you why today. As we roll through the episode, we're going to talk about how the Wizards can get him even more involved than he was yesterday in his 16-point performance in the debut and how he can continue to get better. We'll go through some other topics as well. Keyshawn George handling the rock, and then finally we'll close things out with a preview of Cooper Flagg versus Tre Johnson, Mavericks and Wizards underway tomorrow from Dallas. AB, I was so impressed yesterday with Tre Johnson. One, not just because of the shooting ability, but the way he was able to move without the basketball and create space on the floor because of the ability he has as a shooter. That's why he transforms this entire offense. When you have a guy that can sit in the corner at times in a possession where you have somebody that breaks down the defense and allows for him to get open, you have really a guy that creates space for everyone else on the floor because the defense is always going to have to account for a guy like that. And, man, he was just nailing them from the corner. That three-pointer run that he went on was special to see.
And the comfortability, Ben, that's one thing that you just don't see out of rookies in today's NBA. And I think that pass that Ken Whitmore had to him, and it was a dribble pull-up or it was a catch and shoot, I mean, it was just like, it was money, Ben. And I think the more there's a possibility he'll break the three-point rookie record. I don't know what it is exactly, but he's just so freaking good. And when he's that good of a shooter, Ben, defenses are going to be like, we got to watch out for him. And then it opens up opportunities for Cam Whitmore, hopefully Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr. We'll hopefully see him more as a guy that can attack the rim. So you put all those things together, Ben, you just have a guy who is just so offensively gifted. And this is what all we've been talking about going into his rookie year is that he did it all in Texas, led the SEC in minutes played as a 19-year-old. I mean, that is just absurd. So I want to see how he does in Game 2 against Dallas because this Dallas Mavericks team, they have a tall lineup. I mean, they have Cooper Flagg playing the point, and P.J. Washington, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively. It's going to be a fun matchup. And how does he – one thing for me, Ben – when I realized with Bub Carrington is if a guy who is not shooting well, how does he affect the game outside of that? So if Tre Johnson can't hit a shot going, which I don't think he will, which is rare because he's so gifted, how does he play make for others? Does he rebound the ball well? Defensively, is he getting at people's faces? Those are the small things that I want to see come Game 2.
100%. Yesterday, he was impactful all across the board, even outside of the innate shooting ability, which is why we loved him so much coming out of Texas. Yesterday was the example of why the Wizards wanted to take him at number 6 overall. But also, he found ways to get it done in other aspects of the floor. 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. The only blemish yesterday in his game really were the 4 turnovers, and really that was because at times he looked a little bit uncomfortable when he tried to force himself maybe in a couple double teams when he tried to penetrate to the basket. But that's just one of those things I think there are growing pains for him in terms of an offensive player because that wasn't necessarily his game at Texas, but I think he has a lot of room to grow from that aspect of the game. I was so impressed, not just with the shooting ability for him, because when you have this guy offensively that can stretch the floor the way he can, because we have not had good shooting like this in really a long time. The Wizards were the worst team shooting threes from the corner last year than anybody in the NBA. I had the stat down. Yeah, I lost it.
I didn't know we were the worst. I knew it was like bottom 5, but that is interesting.
Yeah, they were the worst last year. So they hit the fewest out of any teams in the NBA last year, 197. The Suns led the NBA with more than double that number at 406. So to see a guy that can put himself in the corner in certain situations where you have guys offensively that make plays for others, like Whitmore on the drive where he kicked it to him multiple times in a row that led to the Tre Johnson three. I just think it's going to make their offense overall that much better. It's really an ability in an aspect of the offense that we did not see last year and the year before previously. They're going to be a lot better and a lot more fun offensively because of Tre Johnson's shooting ability.
And Ben, I was looking back on it. Milwaukee had 18 three-pointers, which we were like, man, they're letting it rain. But Washington had 17, just one less. And Tre Johnson was a big part of it. And I'm hoping that this team will be better three-point shooting-wise this year. And I think him, Keyshawn George, hopefully Alex Sarr, if he shoots a three-point ball, will get better at it. This team will be way better than the worst. I mean, obviously, you can't get worse than 30. But I think you can definitely hit that 15 to 20 range for sure.
Absolutely. Honestly, with Trey, AB, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I really saw some Bradley Beal in his game last night.
It's like a mix. Yeah, sorry, Ben. I was going to say Cam Thomas and Bradley Beal, like mixture.
The way his shot looks, like the fluidity of it in the catch and shoot opportunities and that one dribble step back that he hit yesterday, it kind of just took me back in time, 10 years, to watching a young Bradley Beal play. And we obviously know how he developed as a scorer here in DC as his career went on. So if you get some pieces around this guy in Tre Johnson, I'm not even saying necessarily you think this is the cornerstone piece, because I think we came to realize at some point that Beal wasn't really like the number one option that we thought he was at one point. But Johnson, his ability, you pair him alongside somebody that is dominant either in the post or a dominant point guard option like they had when John Wall was here, he just becomes another dynamic threat to this offense that could be ridiculously good. And he didn't even have a field goal in the second half. He was a little more quiet. Milwaukee made some defensive adjustments, but I think the sky is the limit for Trey in this rookie season, and it's going to continue to get better and better as the season goes on. Just want to keep seeing that confidence in his game. 8 3-pointers attempted yesterday, a good number for him. And the fact that he knocked down 50% of them, including that 3-in-a-row run, just shows you the capability that this guy has. I think you're going to see that 8 to 10 3-point performance at some point this year. And I know that's a really big ask, but 4 in his debut in the NBA, if you have a night where he just gets scorching hot, especially later in the year when he's maybe playing even more minutes than he did last night, which was 26. We're going to see a big output scoring-wise at some point this year from Tre Johnson because of his three-point shooting ability. This offense, it just feels so much more fun now with him on the floor. That's all I can really say.
And Ben, if Trey wants to win Rookie of the Year, he's going to have to do this a lot more often, because the guy in Philadelphia just dropped 30 in Boston and his rookie debut, VJ Edgecombe. I mean, that was impressive, Ben. But I think Trey, his gift of not only just scoring at will from the three-point line, Ben, I think once he understands how to attack defenses, penetrate in, kicking out to guys, maybe even having lobs thrown to Alex Sarr, I think that's what's going to make him so special, because that's what the great players do. They have that one skill, and then when defenses try to minimize it, it's like, hey, I'm going to beat you in this way. I know I can't shoot the ball right now. It's not going in for me, but I'll play make for you. So that's what I love about Tre Johnson, Ben, is that the guy is so freaking young, and he's only going to learn from it and get better. And defensively, the concerns, and just the Wizards in general, like, I always want to say that we don't have to have Tre Johnson be an elite defender, because you have Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn George. You have size in so many different positions. So I think when he's so good offensively, if he's an average defender, I mean, that he has the ability to be an all-star caliber player in this league. It'll just take some time, because like you mentioned, he's like 19.
Yeah, dominated at 18 or basically 19 years old in the SEC, and I think he's going to show a lot here in his rookie season. I was glad in the preseason that we saw him work on his penetration, his dribble drive game so much, because maybe at times we were like, we want to see him stretch the floor a little bit more and try to get that three-point shot going, but he used the preseason and training camp as an opportunity to improve on something that wasn't really part of his game quite yet. And yesterday we still saw he's a little bit raw in that aspect of his game. I think he looked a little bit uncomfortable at times when he put the basketball on the floor, and ultimately he dribbled into a couple double teams, which led to the 4 turnovers. But if that's the only issue you really had with him yesterday for a rookie player that's 19 years old making his debut against a really, really good Milwaukee team, I think you got yourself a dude right here.
And
Like,
look at all the rookies, man. I mean, Cooper Flag, I understand he had a double-double, but it was a very inefficient double-double. And Ace Bailey only scored 2 points. So a lot of these guys, it's learning curves. And with those four turnovers for Trey, he's going to get better. He's obviously going to learn from it.
yeah. So, I mean, last year Washington shot 40+% on 40 or more attempts only 12 times in an 82-game season. And yesterday they were at 40.5% from beyond the arc. So it just goes to show you how much better they are offensively with his ability to get it done from the three-point line. Because as you said, 17 threes in a game, it's actually a pretty high mark for this team. We're not used to the Wizards being able to shoot the ball from the outside that well. And obviously Keyshawn George is going to be a big help for that this year. Hopefully Whitmore is going to help out more than he did yesterday. He struggled a little bit from the outside, but got it done in other ways. I think this offense is just really scratching the surface of where they can go in terms of development this year and then on in the future. But Trey Johnson, the main focal point for me right now of why this offense is going to continuously get better and better as the year goes on. How can the Wizards get him more opportunities? How can he get better as the season goes on? We're going to tell you that next. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overage, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivering on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and contacts. I love that you're getting the same quality service you had before, but for a fraction of the price. The setup is super easy. You kept your number, and now you're running in minutes. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for 3 months solely. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on a limited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them. It's just stress, I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body needs a little bit of extra support, and that's where Rougiet comes in. Rougiet.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiet makes it get started. You can just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back into the moments that matter. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rougiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. AB, it felt like at times, although we talked about how spacing is going to be really important in terms of this Washington Wizards offensive transformation, I feel like they could do more to get Tre Johnson opportunities with open looks in this game. And one of the things that we harped on yesterday offensively was the struggles they had in the first half moving the basketball well and generating open looks for these players. And I know playmaking is a bit of an issue for this team, and really last night Keyshawn George did look like the best playmaker for this Wizards team, but that's a conversation probably for another video where we'll really dive into the point Keyshawn conversation. But I think there's other ways that they could get Tre Johnson even more involved in this offense that doesn't involve him just sitting in the corner. Like, let's see some pin downs. Let's see some set plays where you have Tre Johnson coming around off a screen, giving him just a bit of space because you know that's all he needs to get open for the shot. I feel like they could really kind of facilitate the offense around him at times. Maybe we're going to see that tomorrow against Dallas.
You know what you're sounding like right now? How Golden State Warriors plan for Steph Curry, Ben.
Yeah.
When you have a shooter, I'm not saying Tre Johnson is as good as Steph Curry. Give it a couple more years. I'm just joking. But I think the way he scores the ball, if you can find a way to set down screens, you have big guys like Alex Sarr, Marvin Bagley, Tristan Vucevic, whoever you have in the lineup that can set those firm screens, let him get open. I understand three-point shooting in the corner is ideal. That's what you want to see. And it's only as easy as it is if the guy's just sitting there wide open. But you want to create spaces for him, and hopefully in the mid-range game as well. And you just don't want to rely on just kickouts because eventually defenses will play tight close-up perimeter defense. And I think Trey's ability to also, attack defenses, that's going to be one thing that I want to see, Ben. I think, off-ball screens are awesome, being able to catch and shoot, but shooting off the dribble, that's something that we saw at Texas. And I think just overall his game will develop from game one. I think we'll even see it tomorrow against Dallas, where you'll see a more comfortable and confident Tre Johnson. And it's going to be exciting, Ben, because Coach Keefe, this is one thing that people are harping on him about. Can he make plays for his playmakers? And Tre Johnson, for a guy that a lot of Wizards fans have stock in, this whole organization believes in him. They took him with the 6th overall pick. You want to make sure that you're maximizing his rookie year.
Absolutely. I think his defenses start to really get used to how good he is as a shooter, lethal, especially in the corner. They're going to make those adjustments, as you said, and I think Milwaukee even did it yesterday. They did a much better job in the second half, allowing opportunities for Tre Johnson to get open for catch and shoot opportunities. With that being said, if you have somebody that can get him the ball on those defensive breakdown opportunities where he gets a catch and shoot opportunity, if the defense crashes in and closes down quickly on him because they know how much of a threat he is, imagine how good he is going to be on the pump fake game. Just really, we got the one flash of it yesterday where he pump fake, took the one side step back to the left wing and knocked down the three-pointer. That could be his game all day long, because if defenses really have to account for what you do in the corner and they have to absolutely run their ass off to get out to you and close out that shot, you're going to be able to break down the defense yourself, because you're going to pump and you're either going to go right to the basket and score, you're going to have an easy pull-up mid-range jumper, or you're just going to sidestep and hit another three-pointer. I think the possibilities are endless for what they can do offensively. I think the Wizards just need to find ways to get him more involved, get him more catch and shoot opportunities, because the best thing about Tre Johnson's game, from what we know right now and the way it stands, this could completely change, because he might develop himself as a much better, or not even much better, but a guy that can get it done as an on-ball player, look more comfortable with the basketball in his hands, get to the rim and finish. He's great off the ball, kind of like the way Bub was last year. Find ways to make plays for him, because he's very intelligent. He has the basketball IQ to find himself in passing lanes. He knows how to get open, and he knows how to knock it down when he gets those opportunities. I expect them to continuously find more ways to get him the basketball with space as the season goes on.
Because there's a world out there, Ben, where Tre Johnson might be the best scorer on this team at the end of the season. Because let's be for real, we all know CJ McCollum is here for a limited time. Will Dawkins wants to maximize his trade value, eventually ship him off. And Keyshawn George, maybe that could be the runner-up, closest to Tre when it comes to scoring. But Tre Johnson's ability, I just think sky's the limit for this kid. And I just don't know if I want to see Alex Sarr take that year or two jump. Bub Carrington, can he be that lead point guard? That's another headline, Ben. I think that's going to become more apparent as we go on into the season. And I'm just hoping for Tre Johnson. As much as I want the kid to score, I just want him to be efficient. That's, at the end of the day, an efficient rookie on a team that's maximizing development, that's what truly matters. Obviously, it would be nice for him to drop 30 to 40 points a game, but we got to be for real.
Yeah, we'll see how they build on it and how he specifically builds on that performance, because I think the last preseason game he played in against Detroit was a pretty tough night for him offensively. So it was good to see him come out, and when the game really mattered in the regular season, he showed out. He showed what he's capable of, and he showed to this organization why they made the right decision to take him at number 6 overall. You had a guy like Jeremiah Fears who went number 7, who's maybe could have filled the point guard hole more that they have on this team for the Wizards, but you want your guy in Tre Johnson because of how good he is as a shooter. Jeremiah Fears was not as good as a shooter in this draft than Tre Johnson. I think ultimately the Wizards were looking for a dude that could put the ball in the basket, and they were confident he would do it at a super high rate. Tre Johnson is going to be that kind of player, and I'm just so glad that he's on our team, AB. And I know we're going to see Cooper Flagg tomorrow, and as Wizard fans, we were super salty when the lottery didn't go our way last year, ended up with the 6th pick, but I'm feeling good about how the future of this franchise looks with Tre Johnson playing within this offense right now.
And I put this on X, Ben. I was really thinking about it. Against Milwaukee, without their number one defender in Bilal Coulibaly, CJ McCollum having a cold night, they still put up a good fight. Which one thing I want to see, though, is in Dallas, will you start off slow? We saw that in Milwaukee. Can this team start off the way they played in the second half, or particularly in the third quarter, where they were within 5 to 6 points from Milwaukee? And I understand Dallas, Cooper Flagg is great. He's going to be great. Anthony Davis, he's an elite player in this league. but you can find a way to attack that defense. I mean, I understand Wembanyama is an alien, but he exposed that to Dylan Harper. A lot of these Spurs players, they found a way to attack that Dallas defense. Can Washington find a way to go in Dallas and upset them?
Yeah, it's just going to feel like a situation where Dallas is going to be such a desperate team after what happened to them last night. Just, man, I just keep thinking about the Wemby performance right now because he put the whole world on notice, and then it became instantly overshadowed with all this gambling stuff that came out later in the day, which was ridiculous. But my God, Wemby may have just like signified like we're about to enter a new era of the NBA here where he's going to dominate. My friend called me today because he was just flabbergasted by the performance. He said, set the over-under, 2.5 MVPs for Wemby. And I was like, dude, like if he can stay healthy, I think I'm going over at this point because I don't know how anyone can stop the guy. And the Mavericks had no answer for him. Are they going to have answers for us? They're kind of different in a way, but let's break down the matchup between the Wizards and the Mavericks when we come back. That's how we'll close out the show. When I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family, so I had to give it a try. Let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear, fit, comfort, or just finding the right style for me. Skims changed all of that. The men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with a perfect balance of comfort and style. I tried the Skims Stretch 5 boxer brief, and I am hooked. These are perfect for my active lifestyle. They move with me. They never lose their shape. And they stay in place all day, whether I'm working out or just running errands. They are the most comfortable and reliable underwear I have ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. I shop Skims Men's at skims.com. I let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select Locked On Wizards in the drop-down menu that follows. Mavericks and Wizards tomorrow night in Dallas. Two tough road tasks for this Wizards team to begin the season. But, hey, B, this kind of feels like an opportunity for this Wizards team to try to make a statement. You have a Mavericks team that's going to come into the game very desperate. They're reeling a little bit after being absolutely embarrassed by a state rival San Antonio Spurs team where Victor Wembanyama could not be stopped. The Mavericks had absolutely no answer for him. He's an alien. The Wizards obviously don't have an alien, so I would not expect the Mavs to have as many issues defensively against us as they did against San Antonio. But with that being said, this matchup is interesting to me because yesterday Dallas threw out that big jumbo lineup out there, and they don't really have a true point guard on this team right now, kind of much like the Wizards are in this situation where they don't really have a point guard at the moment. And Cooper Flagg was the point guard listed as, at least for portions of this game. And he struggled at times. And offensively, they never really were able to get comfortable yesterday. And Wembanyama just completely broke the Dallas mat. That's how Nick Angstad, the host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Shout out, Nick.
Yeah, he literally, that was his direct words, is that Victor Wembanyama broke the Dallas Mavericks yesterday. They couldn't do anything because of his presence on the floor. Now, the Wizards don't have that type of presence, so I expect the Mavs to rebound in this one and obviously look a lot better. But I think there are going to be some opportunities for the Wizards to push the ball in transition today and maybe play a little bit faster than the Dallas can at times.
And like you mentioned, Wemby is an alien we don't have, but an alien on this roster. But you got to play fast, Ben. And rebounding, it's going to be tough. I mean, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, those are guys that can rebound. And it was kind of surprising because I think we definitely did, if I'm looking at it, Washington out-rebounded Milwaukee in that game. So running off the three-point line, Milwaukee made 18 three-pointers. Klay Thompson can shoot the ball. Anthony Davis can stretch the floor. P.J. Washington can also. Can you take advantage of this big lineup that they have? Speed with Trey, maybe attacking the rim more. Bub Carrington, Cam Whitmore, he is so freaking explosive and so huge. I mean, he is a specimen. That's the nickname I have for Cam, Ben, a specimen. I just think this squad in general, they have a good shot of going into Dallas and upsetting them. And I know not many people want to hear that because it's like, okay, there's no way we're going to compete. And I'm not going to lie, Ben, I'm watching the Hornets, like even they look good. So going into the season, I said that Hornets game probably is a really winnable game, but Honestly, after the Milwaukee performance, I really think this team can compete with any of these NBA teams. It's just about which Wizards team will we get. The tale of two halves against Milwaukee, where first half you're down by 19 at halftime. In the third quarter, you make it a 5-6 point game. Can this team be consistent? Can Alex Sarr, an aggressive Alex Sarr, can he be a guy that can go and take it into Anthony Davis and Derek Lively? Because we're the third youngest NBA team, but there's drawbacks to being young, but there's also positives. You have fresh legs. You have guys that could run the floor, that can movement, fluidity. That's the thing that I want to see against Dallas, and I just hope that this team comes out guns blazing, because this Mavericks team, there's no way they want to fall 0-2, especially since they have so much talent on that roster.
Yeah, definitely some high expectations this year for Dallas. Really stacked Western Conference. I'm glad you brought up Alex Sarr and his aggressiveness, because we need to see that. I want to see them go after Derek Lively and PJ Washington and Anthony Davis as well. Go after those guys and get them into foul trouble, because Washington and Lively got into foul trouble very early last night for Dallas, and San Antonio just took over the game from there. They had no answer. At one point, you had to see the lineup where Anthony Davis was playing center. Obviously more traditionally plays better as a 4 for that Dallas squad, and really how he's been throughout his entire career. And then you saw Nembhard and D'Angelo Russell handling the guard duties for Dallas. So I think that allows some opportunities. I want to see how we compete defensively. Can Bub and Trey handle the responsibilities of going up against some talented guards like Russell and Nembhard? And, who matches up with Cooper Flagg? Are we going to see Keyshawn George maybe guard at the 4 and go against Anthony Davis?
I was going to say, Ben, sorry. That's the thing. If Keyshawn's guarding Cooper Flagg, who's going to guard AD?
I mean, just like that's the only thing that kind of worries me for the Wizards in this one, is like how they're going to match up size-wise. And obviously Dallas has a lot more size, and it might be difficult because, no matter who you put Sarr on, somebody that's big is going to have a potential mismatch opportunity. How are they going to negate that? Are they going to send doubles Anthony Davis's way? But who else is going to have to rotate over? They're going to have to be better rotating than they were, especially in the first half against Milwaukee.
Yeah, we saw them send double teams on Giannis, so maybe you give Anthony Davis that same treatment, but having shooters like D'Angelo Russell, Klay Thompson, I just want to see how this Wizards team does defensively, Ben. It's going to be hard to win this game if you're letting up 130 points.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for this Wizards team. I haven't looked at any lines, so I don't have any indication of what Vegas is predicting, but you're on the road. This Dallas team, I'd imagine, will be very desperate tomorrow. And just the matchup ability that this Mavericks team has because of the size they're going to put out there compared to Washington, it's an uphill battle for this Wizards team, but I want to see it kind of just like the Bucks game in terms of competitiveness, but let's not start as slow. Let's try to find a way to pick up the pace early on in this game, make Dallas sweat a little bit. You don't want to find yourself having to battle back in the second half of every game. If you can keep it competitive in the game within 10 to 5 points, like the entirety of the game, instead of falling down by 20 at some points in the first half, I think that's where you're going to really see your most successful brand of basketball, because everyone's going to be able to stick within system and play the way they want. The Wizards have to find a way to dictate the pace tomorrow. That's going to be the key to success for them.
Our Commanders couldn't get it done in Dallas, but our Wizards will, Ben. I think they find a way to upset this Mavericks team. And if tomorrow after the postgame show we lose by 20, don't blame me. I'm just the guy that really wants to see this team win.
Yeah, I think we all do. And obviously wins are not the most important priority to this Wizards team this year, but to see your young guys go on the road and beat a really talented team would be a special feeling. It would signal progress. It would signal the sign of maybe like a light at the end of the tunnel that you might see toward the end of the season, so on and so forth with this Wizards team. But Wizards and Mavericks, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. We will be live for it. I'm going to be a little bit late to the live stream because I got a play-by-play volleyball game at Georgetown tomorrow. But I promise I'll be in there. I'll join up with AB, and then we're going to have all the post-game coverage live as well on the Locked On Wizards YouTube channel, and then they'll be out on the audio version as well. All right, everybody, we thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Let us know what you liked the most from yesterday in the Wizards' performance against Milwaukee in the season opener. How can Tre Johnson get even more involved with this offense? How does he transform this offense for the future? For my co-host, Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, DC family. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Let's go, Wiz.